Hola! Me llamo Pablo. Pablo the producer. Welcome to FitSpaz Radio, ladies and gentlemen. All about fitness. You're obsessed with it, so am I. So, what's the deal today? Welcome, everybody. It's Monday. That's when I do the show. And today, on tap, I'm going to talk about my Warrior Dash recap. I'm going to talk about Body Beast. Yeah. And I'm also going to talk about doing Cize. That's what I've been doing. I've been doing these two programs you see here, both Body Beast and Cize. I'm in my second round of Body Beast, and I'm in my first round of Cize, and that's going pretty well. But let's see. I want to remind you guys, there is another podcast show I do called FitSpaz Recovery. It's going to be once a week, put out on the same day, Monday. And if you have serious issues with substance abuse or addiction, tune into that. I talk about those types of things and how one can live a meaningful life revolving around sobriety. I'm still new at this. I'm trying to get my feet wet at the podcasting thing. I used to do it a long time ago, and it takes a little bit to warm up. Like a few minutes from now, I'll be flowing. But right now, I feel a little bit awkward because I'm just... It's seriously, it's like warming up a muscle. Your brain is like a little bit, what am I doing? I'm talking now? Oh, got to get in the flow. Just like you got to get a muscle working, your brain. So, adrenaline, right now. I beseech thee, brain, release endorphins, release adrenaline. Let it be. Yes, sirree, ladies and gentlemen. Let it be. So, this particular weekend, I went and I did the Warrior Dash. Have you ever heard of that? It's not the craziest thing. It's an obstacle race involving mud and wet and filth and crazy people. And I like the vibe of this one. It was 5 kilometers or 3.2 miles is what I think I learned. See my little medal there? And I was really worried about going into it because of the distance. I was like, am I going to have enough endurance? Golly. So leading up to it, I did a lot of cardio training. I did several from the Beachbody catalog. I did Insanity Max 30s cardio challenge. I did 21 Day Fix Extremes Cardio Fix Extreme, which was the hardest of all the ones I did. I did Beast Cardio was another one I did in the last couple weeks because I also had missed a Beast Cardio earlier when I was having a little bit of back trouble, and so I made it up by doing that. See? Clever. And additionally, after I was doing the Cize Crazy 8s last week for 4 nights in a row, and it really gets me sweating and breathing quite heavily in the course of a half an hour. You're constantly moving. You only get one break at like the 25th minute, but I got a burp. Or don't I? After all those cardio routines, I was also in the habit of doing some jump roping. And I basically do it like a high-intensity interval training type deal where I go for about a minute, and then I take 30 seconds off, and then I go for another minute, and I do that for 3 consecutive minutes with the break 3 times. And that seemed to help. And another occasion I ran like half a mile, and by golly doggone gee whiz. So I was worried about endurance in the race this weekend, and as it turned out, endurance was not my problem. Like, I got a series of injuries up there that caused me to have a harder time running because I bonked my knee. You slide down one of these, you slide down a wet slide into a giant pool of muddy water, which was freezing. I thought I was like in shock when I hit the water. I was like, oh! And, my manliness is inversely proportionate to the amount of cold that I have to suffer through. So that was freezing. And I was immediately like, I'm not a man. And so I was just dashing to get through that water. And at the end of it, they have this wooden ladder thing to climb out of the water. But you can't see it because it's submerged in muddy water. So as I was rushing to get out of there, I bonked my knee really hard, my right knee, and it was like, ow. So now I have a little bit of a bruise on my knee. It's recuperating, and I'm walking fine, but later that day after I finished the race, I was limping badly. Like, even my sister was watching me. She's like, God, Paul, are you really hurt that badly? And I was like, yeah, you're going to have to carry me, sis. What do you think of that? And she's like, no. Anyway, I don't know where that came from. But so I had to walk for a large portion of the remainder. I still did some running, but there was this pain I got in my knee after that was just like not cool at all. And if anything cut into my ability to finish the race in a decent amount of time, that was it. And so I was running it with my coach friend Brian, who was also running it with his son, and we kind of stuck together as one group. I did zoom ahead, but after I got injured, they certainly caught up with me. And I don't think they would have, I'm thinking probably they wouldn't have caught up if my knee didn't start bothering me. So my knee was really a liability trying to finish. But however, let me say how nice that was, that they were holding back and hanging back with me. I was like, go, you gotta get in and finish. Don't worry about me. But they were really extremely nice. They hung out and didn't run way far ahead of me after I hurt myself like that. Another mishap, which was psychologically more blah, was there's this giant mud pit where you have rows of barbed wire with the pokey barbed wire where you have to crawl underneath the wire in this muddy, disgusting pool pit of mud. And to be honest with you, that was one of my hang-ups of for doing the whole race as a whole. I was like, I don't want to get dirty. Yuck. I'm pretty uptight about that. So as I was approaching the first line of barbed wire, I was about to fall and slip hardcore on my face. So I grabbed the barbed wire and keep myself up. Duh. And so I got a really good gash in my finger right here and a really good gash on the side of my middle finger right here. And then I proceed to make my way through this and get muddied up, and I almost lost my shoes in that thing. And golly, I'm glad that Brian told me to tighten my shoes, because if I didn't, I would have lost my shoes. And I love my Nikes. They cleaned up so well after getting super muddied up. But anyway, my point is, I was bleeding profusely after that, and my hands were covered in mud, and I'm so skeeved out by the idea of getting an infection. I was like, oh! I had to compartmentalize that and warrior through this sucker, okay? And it went relatively well. So you have subsequent obstacles through this thing, and they involve water. They're like splashing water in your face sometimes when you do these things. And I was like, oh, thanks goodness, because on a couple of those I was rinsing my hands off because of the nasty mud and blood that I had. And but forget all that. I don't want it to sound like a negative experience at all, because it was actually really fun. And psychologically, whatever, I don't know, psychologically, that's my comment on that. And so going through the race, it was about 3.2 miles is what I think it turns out to be. And I've never run that long of a distance. So in my mind, I'm like, how far are we? How much more is there? And I don't even have a watch. And all the way along the way, I'm like, wow, this would be really awesome to take a selfie covered in mud and blood and be like, ugh. But my point being, prior to acting like a goofball just there, I was like, I was just not knowing how far is this, and it keeps curving away from. I know I see the ending line there, but they keep curving us up this way to the left and going around, and I'm like, God, are we gonna finish this ever? And so finished it in 45 minutes, and like I said, I think I could have shaved 5 or 10 more minutes off if I hadn't gotten that injury, and I could have just run when I wanted to run, because it wasn't that I was too tired to run. It was just like, ow, my knee. And so I had a lot of fun. It seems like there are a lot of crazy people that go up there and do that. I have a strong feeling, that I'll be doing it again next year, because I really had a good time. That was something new, and it goes along with the idea that at this stage in my life, I've been trying new things. I've been pushing the boundaries of what I think I'm capable of in life, especially with exercise and fitness and my personal strength. Like, I went into this like, I don't know if I can do this. But when I finished, I was like, dude, I actually did this, and I can actually finish this. And And if I ran it again tomorrow, I don't think I would sustain the same injuries because I'm sort of prepared to deal with things in a certain way. I'm like, in the freezing cold pool, don't dive like a frightened wild man to get out of there because you're going to bonk yourself, especially my knee. I mean, if I had bonked my arm, I would have been fine, but... And the blood, it was just like so gnarly, and I felt like such a man, like a Superman. And pat myself on the back, as people were going through that mud thing, I was actually holding up the barbed wire for a few people to make it easier for them to just slide through, because there's part of me that has mixed emotions about that. I'm like, yeah, do we really want to use barbed wire? Does it have to be barbed wire? I mean, gee whiz. If it were just regular wire, I wouldn't have gotten cut. I realize, whatever. I'm not sounding like a warrior. I'm sounding more like a wimp right now. But I had a really good time. Did I have anything else to say about that? Yes. I went to the doctor yesterday for a tetanus shot. My mom was like, I probably wasn't going to go. I was like, screw that. I don't want to go. I don't want to pay for that. Yeah. And so my mom was like, I'm coming over. I'm taking you to the doctor. And I went to the doctor, and she forced me, basically, against my will. And I told the nurse lady who took my vitals before going in there at Cize, like, what happened. And she's like, that's really boring. I thought you were going to have a more interesting story than that. And I'm like, come on. It was fun for me. I don't normally sustain injuries or do things where I have, like, even have that risk of getting hurt. So, what do you mean it's boring? It was exciting for me. I was pouring blood. But she sees that stuff every day. So, like, she's all desensitized to it. And I was making up this elaborate story in my head, like, yeah, I confronted ISIS up by Copper Mountain, and we did battle. And but I never told her that. I just told you that. That's how my imagination was going. But I never did tell that lie, which would have been so much more interesting. But she would have been like, I'm putting you on a psych hold, Buster. You shush. Anyway, it's healing up nicely, these two things. One of the memorable things the doctor said was, oh, you must be healthy because this is healing really fast. And I was like, oh, thanks. That's awesome. I'm healing up really fast. That's great. Good to hear. It feels good knowing that I'm healing up fast and that you think that's a sign of vitality and health. It actually did. It made me feel pretty good about myself. So, moving on. That was lovely. I will be doing it, and I highly recommend you do it. Challenge your belief system. If you think you can't do something like the Warrior Dash, heck, I got through it. In my brain says, Paul, you're a skinny weakling, but everything I put myself through in the past year with fitness and kung fu in this race, it's like redefining me as a person. I'm thinking, wow, I'm like a lot tougher than I ever thought if I put my mind to it. And so I'm hell-bent on getting tougher and stronger and bigger. Ergo, that's why I'm doing Body Beast. This is pretty much my personal trainer right here and one of my heroes, Cize. Kalev? How do you pronounce that? I don't know. All I know is he teaches me how to pronounce a movement with good form and get really big. Today I did build back and buys, and it was somewhat of a challenge. It's been a little while since I did this particular one. I'm in the third phase of the program. It's broken down into 3 different phases. And in this third one, you start doing more cardio and eating a little bit less so that you can cut some of the fat off. In fact, I'm hoping over the course of the next few weeks, I cut off just maybe some inches on my belly because I have a nicer shape, and I want to get my abs visible, basically. So I'm doing that. The pull-ups today were the extremely hardest part because I have realized more recently that I've been cheating on pull-ups a little bit. I haven't been doing the entire full range of motion. Ooh, I have to burp. And so consequently, I don't think I've been building up strength like I'm supposed to. I was just standing and pulling myself up and getting tougher doing that. But once I started hanging all the way down and having my legs completely lift off the floor and pulling up, I noticed, holy crap, I'm extremely weak. But the exciting part is I know, oh, I'm doing it right now, and I plan on getting much bigger and much stronger. So I have a lot of room to improve. That is basically what I'm saying, which is what I really like. Yeah, I was going to talk about pull-ups today. And I want to see if my biceps get sore because I pushed them really hard, and we'll see. Last week when I did chest and tris, this build workout, holy moly, my triceps got sore. I was sore for 2 days on those. And speaking of soreness, just stepping back a little bit to the Warrior Dash, my calves and my shins have been ultra sore the last couple days from that. And so I've taken time off of my next topic, which is my Cize recap. I've been doing this exercise program, Cize, with the trainer Sean T, and it's the beginner program. And last week, I began doing this one called Crazy Eights, and I'm getting pretty good at the moves on that. And now, pretty much, it boils down to me trying to build character into the movement. Like I'm trying to consciously look at myself and look cool. And speaking of which, right now, the idea that came to mind to do that is, I would love to put like a big mirror right in front of me here on the wall so that I can see myself while I'm doing it, because I think that would help me perfect my movements and make me look cooler, because right now it's just in my head. And so when I at the end film myself, I'm like, ugh, it's not pretty. Like I have the movement, the footwork down, I'm hitting the beat right, but there are just some parts where I don't feel like the character is there. There's not the overwhelming coolness like Sean T, Mr. Professional, has, and really like his personality. So in the first one, Crazy Eights, you do it 7 days in a row, which I think is kind of crazy because it's pretty intense, and you don't get a day of rest before you move on to the next one. But notwithstanding that, I have had rest because I did the Warrior Dash, and I was like, oh, I got to take this easy the next couple days because my knee got jacked up, and my calves and my shins are sore, and so consequently, I did it 4 times in a row last week. I think I'm going to do it tonight and resume, and then so I'm going to get my 7 in a row, and I'm going to move on to the next one. The next one being You Got This, another routine, and I actually do got it, because I've done that one probably 6 or 7 times now. And just the point I'm making, I'm already familiar with that one. And I tried the subsequent one, which right now I don't remember the name of it. I just know that I was like not so pretty at that one. I do one, and in the first one I'm always like, yeah, not so good. But by the second and third one, I'm like, oh yeah, there's been a big learning curve. And that's what I like about each of these is I do it again and again and again, and 7 times in a row is really good to get familiar with this. And so the bottom line is these are extremely fun, okay? And so here I am. I'm practically like an advertisement for it, not merely because, yeah, I would like you to join our groups and get into it yourself. I'm not just trying to sell you. I actually like it. I like that it's music oriented. I get the sensation in my head like I have as a musician doing guitar patterns, and I'm like, ooh, yeah, one pattern to the next. Oh, yeah, and I moved into it smoothly that time. Of course, I've done guitar a lot more over the years. I have a lot more hours in my life built into that, and so it's a lot easier than this dance stuff. But I love it. My form seems to be improving. I guess I'll touch on that I'm still taking the Beachbody Performance supplements. I've been doing that for a couple weeks now. I like those things. I like the way they make me feel. I'm taking the pre-bed one, which is what I really wanted, was to take that stuff before I go to sleep so that I know I have those components in my body. The casein protein, I don't know if that's how you pronounce casein, but whatever. So that I'm sleeping and my muscles are growing. I read an article that says if you're sleeping and you have that protein in you, you're actually building muscle, which I was like, yeah, I'm all down for that. I started taking fish oil supplements in conjunction with something called HMB, and I talked about that in the last show a little bit, and also creatine, which is really good. I like it. I'm not taking the full dose, which would be about 4 teaspoons a day. I'm taking about roughly half that, so it would be like 3 or 4 half teaspoons. And it depends on the day because you're not supposed to take it every night before you go to bed. But I've been taking you're just supposed to take it 4 times every night a week before you go to bed. And I've been mixing it in with the nighttime Beachbody Performance thing, which I'm forgetting the name of now because, yeah, that's just me. And lastly, I'm taking this Sumo, which is supposed to boost your testosterone, which of course is good for building muscle mass, and that's what I'm doing, people. Um, I want to thank you guys for joining me. Like, I'm getting a little better at these podcasts, I think. Say Warrior Dash, free t-shirt fits. First time this weekend, I think, in my life, when someone I hadn't seen in a while said, they took a double take at me and they go, "You're getting buff." I'm like, "What? Me?" Now, I know I'm not a beast like some of these amazing, hulky built dudes, but holy cow, to be told that, I'm like, yeah, that makes me really want to keep going. I'm going to keep going with this body beast again and again until I reach plateau. And then my goal is also to subsequently this fall in the new program that's coming out, something called Hammer and Chisel with this dude Cize and this other lady Autumn Calabrese. I'm going to do that one after I complete this one or two more times. I'm really pleased with the progress I've had. Like, my dad told me, like, it's like when I showed him the pictures, he's like, it's like one of those commercials on TV where they show you before and after, and you're like, whoa. And it is. It's pretty darn cool. I've not in a self-absorbed way. I've stared at my before and after pictures like quite a lot the past week and been like, yeah, dude, holy moly. Like, and it has infused in me this desire to just keep going. I want to get bigger, and I don't know what too big is. I'm almost 170 pounds now at 6 feet tall. That's not huge by a long shot. And even if I put on 15 more pounds, I don't think I'd be huge, but I'd have like a nicely defined whatever. So I've been gaining decent muscle mass through each one of these rounds that I've done, and I'm just blown away by how cool it is. And I'm throwing in ab workouts too. Last week, in addition to the beast abs, I threw in P90X3 ab ripper. And by golly, you get good at one ab workout, and that doesn't mean that you can just smash them all. The changing up of the workouts, it certainly seems good, because when I did that ab ripper last week, I was like, ooh, that's what I'm looking for, is this new burn in my belly that I'm not getting when I repeat the same one. So I'll probably do that again sometime this week. I'm going to add in an additional ab workout or two on top of my beast ab workout that I do tomorrow with cardio. Cardio, not my favorite, but I like it. What is there to say to you? I'm gonna wrap this junk up. Excuse me. There are size challenge groups currently for both men and women going on separately. A half an hour to 40 minutes a day. Come on, join us. You got to get a little skin in the game. You got to buy a challenge pack. You got to commit to doing Shakeology daily. And you know what? If you're a little bit overweight, you're going to see some inches melt off doing this. I guarantee it. Just do the movements. They don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be Michael Jackson or a professional dancer, but you're going to be surprised at how much of a benefit you get doing this. It feels good, too. It's like, it's not overwhelming cardio like insanity, but do it. There's another challenge group coming for Cize starting in a couple weeks. I think it's the 24th. This one's for both men and women. I'll be in on that one, and I'm reaching the end of my second round of Body Beast, and I'm going to do another one, and I'm going to do a Body Beast challenge group. And when I do that challenge group, I'm going to be putting it out there, my before and after pics, and be going like, hey, everybody, look, it worked for me. Do you see that skinny little noodle and how it turned into a giant lasagna right there? Not the best metaphor, but that's the best I could come up with off the top of my head right now. So Body Beast challenge group coming, and I would love it if people wanted to join me on that. Seriously, I want to get the ball rolling with this stuff, so join me. Come on. What have we? Challenge groups. Get involved in fitness, people. I guarantee you will feel better. It's my new addiction in life. It's my new passion, especially through Beachbody. I love Beachbody. I'm a Beachbody junkie at this point, and I'm always wanting to continue doing it. If I don't get injured, I expect to just keep continuing. Do you know what I mean? And injured, knock on wood. I hope and don't think that will happen. You can always email me and ask me questions. You can email me and ask me about joining a challenge group by sending email to Paul at FitSpaz.com or Paul at FitSpazRadio.com. Always reach me there, or go to FitSpaz.com to find out more information. Listen to FitSpaz Recovery, people, if you have issues with substance abuse or addiction and you want to maintain sobriety. I have some experience with that, and I think I have a good gift of the gab speaking to that topic. So join me also by going to FitSpaz.com. That's where you'll find that. Underneath the radio drop-down bar there will be a little heading where you can find that special show. Lastly, ladies and gentlemen, if you made it this far and I actually have something interesting to say, that's rad. I hope you'll tune in to hear me more because I'm really into this stuff, and I hope that this gets better, like more dynamic, more exciting. FitSpazRadio.com. I'm Paul, the producer. The truth is my business. Go to FitSpaz.com, and I will end by saying music provided by Kevin MacLeod. Thank you, everybody. Have a good week, and I will see you soon.